Invasion. For centuries, the Zorgan Empire had conquered and subjugated countless worlds across the galaxy. Their vast armada seemed unstoppable, their technology far beyond anything their victims could muster. Planet after planet fell before their might, powerless to resist the Zorgans' demands for absolute obedience and tribute. Earth was to be their latest acquisition, the blue-green jewel teeming with resources and a population ripe for enslavement. The Zorgan Emperor Kravox saw the human homeworld as just another prize to be claimed. His warfleet, led by the gargantuan dreadnought Dominator, dropped out of hyperspace on the fringes of the solar system, ready to make Earth kneel. "Attention, people of Earth," boomed the Emperor's voice across every communication channel. "Your world now belongs to the glorious Zorgan Empire. Surrender immediately and become our vassals. Resist and suffer the consequences of defying your new masters." Shock and panic gripped humanity as alien ships appeared in the skies, seemingly poised to conquer an outmatched Earth. For a heartbeat, the world teetered on the brink. But then something extraordinary happened. Earth spoke back, not with a whimper, but a roar. A fierce reply echoed from every transmitter, spoken by the newly elected leader of the United Earth Government, President Alaya Sato. "Zorgan invaders, this is humanity's one and only warning," she declared, eyes flashing with defiance. "Turn your ships around and run back to the forsaken hole you crawled out of. Earth will never surrender, never submit. Underestimate us at your peril. Attack us, and we will fight to our last breath to destroy you. This is your chance to save yourselves. You will not receive another." Silence reigned across the comm channels. Then Emperor Kravox erupted with laughter. "Destroy us. With what? Your primitive toys. Your species is centuries behind us. You have just sealed your doom, impudent Earthlings." The Zorgan fleet surged forward, weapons charging, ready to unleash hell. But as they crossed the orbit of Neptune, they faltered, reeling in confusion. Sensors that should have shown only a smattering of crude Earth defenses instead screamed warnings of an armada appearing out of nowhere. Hundreds of gleaming human warships, armed with technologies beyond anything the Zorgans had ever seen, decloaked and moved to encircle the invaders. Fighters and bombers poured from launch bays, weapon systems locked on to Zorgan craft. A net of fire and steel, woven by wrathful Terrans intent on protecting their home at any cost. Aboard the Dominator's bridge, Emperor Kravox gaped in astonishment. "What is this? Where did they get those ships? How could our intel have missed this?" The impossible scene before him filled the Zorgan ruler with an unfamiliar sensation. Fear. "Zorgans," President Sato's voice rang out again. "We gave you your one warning. Remember, you chose what happens next. Earth's defenders, begin the attack." Space lit up as the human fleet opened fire in a dazzling display of fury and power, and the Zorgan Empire, for the first time in generations, faced an enemy that might just be able to stand against them. Revelation. The Zorgan fleet reeled as Earth's hidden defenses unleashed a storm of fire upon them. Bombardment lasers, antimatter missiles, and graviton torpedoes tore into the invading ships, shredding through shields and ripping open hulls to the cold vacuum of space. The Terran vessels moved with impossible speed and coordination, dancing around the Zorgans' clumsy attempts to counterattack. On the bridge of the TSS Retribution, Admiral Nishant Rao clenched his fist as another Zorgan cruiser broke apart under his flagship's guns. All ships pressed the attack. Don't give them a moment to regroup. His crew cheered as the enemy fleet fell into disarray, scattering before the human onslaught. The Zorgans had come expecting helpless prey, not a pack of wolves ready to tear out their throats. Emperor Kravox watched in disbelief as his grand armada was savaged by the upstart Terrans. The Dominator shuddered as human weapons pummeled its straining shields. "Impossible," he snarled, gripping his command throne tight enough to leave dents. "How can they be doing this? We should be crushing them." "Your Majesty," one of his officers called out, fear straining his voice. "We're losing ships fast. The humans have some kind of advanced shielding we've never seen before. Our weapons can barely scratch them. We must withdraw and regroup. Withdraw? Kravox roared, his eyes blazing with fury and humiliation. We do not flee from primitives. All ships, rally to me. Concentrate fire on their flagship. We will bury them in the wreckage of their own vessels. The Zorgan fleet maneuvered closer together, pouring a hail of fire at Admiral Rowe's ship. But the Retribution's shields held firm, shrugging off the onslaught like a bear ignoring an insect's sting. Sir, the Zorgans are bunching up. Commander Olivia Seto reported from her tactical console, a fierce grin on her face. They're giving us a perfect shot. Admiral Rowe nodded, his eyes hard as steel. All ships, fire the EMP burst on my mark. Let's knock them down and keep them there. Mark. As one, the human fleet unleashed a pulse of crackling blue-white energy that washed over the Zorgan ships like a tidal wave. The invaders' systems crashed and died instantly, shields sputtering out, engines falling dark. The mighty warships drifted, dead in space, as escape pods burst from their sides like panicked rats fleeing a sinking ship. Emperor Kravox howled with rage and disbelief as his ship's lights flickered and consoles exploded in showers of sparks. Emergency power kicked in, bathing the bridge in hellish red light. All remaining ships, emergency jump now. Get us out of here. The Zorgan fleet limped away in a ragged formation, only a fraction of their initial number. They lurched into hyperspace, fleeing before the victorious Terrans, their dreams of conquest shattered beyond repair. Aboard the Retribution, the bridge erupted into wild cheers and applause. Admiral Rowe allowed himself a small smile as he watched the Zorgans retreat. Well done, everyone. But this is only the beginning. The Zorgans now know what we're capable of. They'll be back, and in greater numbers. We need to take this fight to them. He turned to his comm officer. Get me high command. It's time we discuss liberating the poor bastards who've suffered under the Zorgan's boot for far too long. As Earth celebrated its stunning victory, its leaders looked to the stars with grim resolve. The Zorgans had underestimated humanity. They would not make that mistake again, but now it was time for humanity to bring the war to the enemy's doorstep. The Zorgan Empire's days were numbered, and the freedom of the galaxy was within reach at last. Counterattack. In the wake of the Zorgans' humiliating defeat at Earth, the United Earth government wasted no time in launching a counteroffensive. The first target, the Zorgan-occupied world of Thrazix Prime, where the reptilian Thrazix had been enslaved for generations to toil in the Empire's brutal mines and factories. Admiral Rowe stood on the bridge of the Retribution, watching the blue-green world grow larger on the view screen. All ships, prepare for orbital insertion. Our primary objective is to disable the planet's defenses and provide support for the ground troops. As the fleet took up position, dropships loaded with Earth's elite solar marines launched from the hangar base, descending through the atmosphere like avenging angels. On the ground, the Zorgan garrison scrambled to respond, but they were ill-prepared for the fury of the human assault. Plasma fire lit up the skies as the Marines stormed the Zorgan bases, their power armor shrugging off enemy shots while their own weapons cut through the defenders like a scythe through wheat. Sergeant Kira Nakamura led her squad in a daring raid on the main command center, fighting room to room until they captured the Zorgan governor cowering in his bunker. Please, mercy, the governor begged, his scaly hands trembling. I surrender. We had no choice but to follow the Emperor's orders. Sergeant Nakamura hauled him roughly to his feet. You had a choice. You chose to be a slaver and a tyrant. Now you'll answer for your crimes. She turned to her squad. Free the Thrazix prisoners. It's time they tasted liberty. As the Solar Marines liberated the labor camps and shattered the Zorgan's grip on the planet, the Thrazix rose up in joyous rebellion. Decades of pent-up anger and defiance burst forth as they turned on their former masters with makeshift weapons and raw courage. In orbit, the Earth fleet made short work of the Zorgan ships trying desperately to escape. The Retribution's guns flashed, turning the enemy vessels into expanding clouds of debris. The news of Thrazix Prime's liberation spread like wildfire across the oppressed worlds of the Zorgan Empire. Whispers of the humans' victory, of their strength and righteousness, kindled the flames of rebellion on a dozen planets. The downtrodden masses looked to the stars with newfound hope, praying that the Terrans would come to free them as well. On Earth, President Sato addressed the world, her eyes shining with fierce pride. Today, we have struck our first blow against the heart of the Zorgan Empire. But we will not rest until every sentient being held under their tyranny is free. We will stand together, human and alien alike, until the Zorgan's cruel reign is nothing but ash and memory. As the liberated Thrazix pledged their allegiance to the United Earth Government, Admiral Rel looked ahead to the next stage of the campaign. Spies and saboteurs were already working to undermine the Zorgans from within, sowing chaos and discord in preparation for the next wave of attacks. The Empire would fall, one world at a time, until the galaxy was free. In his palace on the Zorgan homeworld, Emperor Krevox seethed with rage and humiliation. The loss of Thrazix Prime was a blow to his prestige and a dangerous crack in the Empire's facade of invincibility. He summoned his war council, determined to crush the human upstarts and remind the galaxy of the price of defiance. But even as the Zorgans plotted their revenge, a new spark of hope and rebellion was sweeping across the stars, ignited by Earth's valiant stand. The old order was crumbling, and a new era of freedom and unity was dawning. The battle had only just begun, but already the galaxy would never be the same. Infiltration. Deep in the heart of Zorgan space, a lone figure crept through the shadowed corridors of Emperor Krevox's palace. Clad in a stolen Zorgan uniform, the human spy known only as Ghost moved with silent precision, evading the patrols and security systems with practiced ease. For months, Ghost and other operatives like her had been infiltrating the Zorgan power structure, gathering intelligence, and sabotaging key facilities. They had struck supply depots, shipyards, and communication hubs, weakening the Empire's grip on its subjugated worlds and paving the way for Earth's liberation fleets. Now Ghost had a chance to strike at the head of the Serpent itself. Her mission: assassinate Emperor Krevox and throw the Zorgan leadership into chaos. She slipped into the Emperor's private chambers, a lethal neurotoxin concealed in a false tooth. Krevox lay sleeping, oblivious to the death that had crept into his sanctum. Ghost leaned over the Zorgan ruler, ready to administer the fatal dose. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the palace. Ghost cursed silently. Had she tripped some hidden sensor? But no, the commotion was coming from outside. She activated her hidden comlink, listening to the frantic chatter of the Zorgan guards. Rebels attacking the slave quarters. They'd overrun the barracks. The humans are jamming our comms. We can't call for reinforcements. By the Emperor, the slaves have weapons. They're fighting back. Ghost allowed herself a tight smile. Her fellow operatives had staged a diversion, giving her the opening she needed. She turned back to the stirring Emperor, the neurotoxin at the ready. But Krevox was already awake, his eyes blazing with rage and fear. "Guards!" he shrieked, scrabbling for his sidearm. "Assassin, protect your Emperor." Ghost lunged, grappling with the Zorgan leader. They crashed to the floor in a tangle of limbs, Krevox's gun skittering away across the polished stone. The Emperor was strong, but Ghost was faster, and she had a lifetime of training in hand-to-hand combat. With a final brutal twist, she snapped Krevox's neck, feeling the life go out of him with a shudder. The Emperor was dead, and the Zorgan Empire would never be the same. Ghost activated her emergency beacon, signaling for extraction. As she fought her way out of the palace, the Zorgan forces fell into disarray, leaderless and demoralized. The human spy vanished into the chaos, leaving a power vacuum that the Empire's remaining warlords would clash viciously to fill. In the following weeks, the Zorgan Empire came apart at the seams as the warlords waged bloody civil war against each other. The rebel uprisings grew bolder, seizing territory and declaring their independence. Earth's fleets swooped in, shattering the Zorgons' fragmented defenses and liberating world after world. But there was one Zorgon leader who rose from the ashes of the Empire's collapse, rallying the remnants of their once mighty war machine. Krevox's son, Prince Zartox, was even more ruthless and cunning than his father. He swore vengeance against the humans, vowing to drown the galaxy in Terran blood. As Earth's forces pushed deeper into Zorgon space, Zartox set his trap. He would lure the humans into a final devastating battle and crush them with a fleet twice the size of any they had faced before. The Zorgon prince would teach the upstart Terrans the price of defying the master race. The stage was set for a confrontation that would decide the fate of the galaxy. Earth's valiant warriors, led by the brilliant Admiral Rao and the enigmatic Ghost, would face their ultimate test against Zartox's armada of vengeance. The liberation of the galaxy hung in the balance, and only the courage and indomitable will of humanity would determine whether freedom or tyranny would reign supreme. Zorgon's Gambit. In the depths of the Zorgon home system, Prince Zartox stood on the bridge of his dreadnought, the Vengeance, surveying the might of his assembled fleet. 1,000 warships bristled with weapons, crewed by the most fanatical and ruthless warriors the Empire had left. They were the last hope of the Zorgon race, a final desperate stand against the relentless advance of the human forces. Zartox clenched his fist, his eyes burning with hatred. The Terrans had taken everything from him, his father, his empire, his birthright. Now he would make them pay, drowning the galaxy in their blood and rebuilding the Zorgon supremacy on the ashes of Earth itself. "My lord," one of his officers reported, bowing low. "Our scouts have detected the human fleet entering the system. They will reach our position in less than 1 standard hour." Zartox smiled coldly, baring his fangs. "Excellent. Let them come. They think they have beaten us, but they have only seen a fraction of our true power. Today, we will teach these upstarts the folly of challenging their betters." As the human fleet approached, Admiral Rao studied the tactical displays with a grim expression. The Zorgon armada was vast, easily outnumbering his own forces 2-1. But he had faced worse odds before, and he had a few tricks up his sleeve. "All ships, prepare for battle," he ordered, his voice calm and steady. "We will hit them with everything we have, and we will not stop until every last Zorgon ship is nothing but dust and echoes." The two fleets clashed in a storm of fire and death, the void of space lit up by the flare of 1,000 weapons. The Zorgons fought with desperate fury, but the humans had the edge in technology and skill. Terran ships danced through the enemy formations, their shields shrugging off the heaviest blows while their own guns tore through Zorgon hulls like tissue paper. But Zartox had one final card to play. As the battle raged, a group of cloaked Zorgon ships slipped past the human lines, making a beeline for Earth itself. If they could not defeat the Terran fleet, they would burn the human homeworld instead, leaving humanity broken and leaderless. Ghost, still embedded in Zorgon space, picked up the transmissions and sounded the alarm. Admiral Rao cursed, realizing the true nature of Zartox's plan. He had to stop those ships, but he couldn't abandon the battle here without giving the Zorgons a chance to regroup and counterattack. In a flash of inspiration, Rao hatched a daring plan. He ordered the bulk of his fleet to keep the Zorgons engaged, while he personally led a small strike force to intercept the cloaked ships. It was a desperate gamble, but the fate of Earth and the galaxy hung in the balance. As Rao's ships raced after the Zorgon infiltrators, Ghost and her team launched a sabotage mission on the Vengeance itself. They would cripple Zartox's flagship and throw the Zorgon fleet into disarray, buying Rao the time he needed. The final battle for the future of the galaxy had begun, a clash of wills and courage that would echo through the ages. On one side, the last gasp of a tyrannical empire, determined to drag the galaxy down into the abyss with it. On the other, the indomitable spirit of humanity, fighting for freedom and justice against impossible odds. The fate of billions hung on the actions of a brave few, as the stars themselves held their breath and waited for the outcome. Would the Zorgan gambit succeed, or would humanity emerge triumphant and usher in a new era of peace and unity for all the oppressed peoples of the galaxy? Only time and the valor of heroes would tell.